Hello folks, it's David here once more with one of my breakdowns of one of my songs that I've done on YouTube, and this one is The Model by Kraftwerk. So first, thanks very much for all the recent likes and comments that you've given me, very much appreciated, and all the feedback too, and this was one of the songs that was requested. So to begin with, the tempo is set to 125 beats per minute, and each sequence is a 4-bar sequence with a standard 16-note pattern. So if we just run through the different sequences, this is sequence 1. That's 4 bars. Sequence 2. Sequence 3, and sequence 4, and sequence 5. Okay, so let's just go into those in a little bit more detail. So sequence 1, we'll start off with the drums, because the drums are very, very simple on this one. I don't think you can get much simpler than that, can you? We've got a bass drum, and we've also got that snare. So we've got the bass drum. The kit we're using is the TR-808 kit 1. We've got the bass drum and the snare. So it's the bass drum coming in, and the snare, the only difference is on the snare we've got an extra beat at the end there. And it's the same drum pattern on all the sequences. And the instruments that we've got on here, we've got on D2 we've got the soft brass 1, which sounds like this. D1 we've got a square reso pluck on one of the sequence patterns this is, or sequence voices I should say, and it sounds like this. So what I'm doing there, I'm recording these notes here. So we've got that's A and E and E and B, A and E, E and B, making this. And underneath that we've got a synthesizer sound. We've got a saw bass 1, so if we bring them all together, so that's the first sequence. Let's go to the second sequence. And we'll just first of all isolate the drums, bring the different voices in. So that's a saw lead 1 on D2. Let's bring that pattern there. same sequence pattern, and on the analog voice bring them all together. On the final version of that, again I recorded this on the Tascam DP006, but I did play in a extra lead. I sort of played it so you've got like the vocal, and then you've got the synthesizer sort of like answering it, and I did play in an extra track with that at a slightly higher volume. Hope that makes sense. And let's go to sequence number 3 and just isolate the drums again first of all. Saw lead 1 on D2. On D1 we've got the same playing a different sequence, and I didn't work this out before I came in, but let's see if I can work it out. Play around with that, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. But you need those two notes to give it that sound. And the analog synthesizer is so it's C, so it's C, B and G, just playing the octaves of the like a bass octave there. That goes into the next sequence. If we just go to the next sequence, which is very similar, but just got that just slightly different ending. And then in the song that goes back into the verse, which is sequence number 2. The whole thing repeats again, and after we've done this cycle between these sequence 3 and 4, we go into this sequence 5. So I'll just play it through for you. And straight into sequence 5. So let's break sequence 5 down. Again, we've got the same drum pattern. So that voice that you're hearing there is the analog Poly 2 voice. And on top of that we've got the same sequence of pattern. synth we've got is very similar to the main pattern for that one. So all together it sounds like this. And that roughly sums it up. On the final recording there are some like vocals, vocal sounds that come through, and we've got, so on the finished recording I added this into it. Into the chorus part. So just playing the octaves apart, and that note pattern. So that was layered on top because obviously I'd run out of sequences. I couldn't actually add any more into it. So that roughly sums up the model. Obviously we've got vocals on top of it as well, which I recorded in, and so it's quite a nice track to do. Not too difficult. Difficult for me to sing it, but otherwise it was quite a nice one to do. So I hope you found that useful. As always, let me know in the comments which other ones you'd like me to do, and I'll try and do some more very soon. All the very best, and I wish you all a happy Christmas and a very safe and prosperous new year. Bye for now.